Hello, everybody, and now I'm going to tell you my story. All right, I am not a immigrant, nor am I a refugee, nor am I a third culture kid. I am what they call a middle class suburban white kid. I was born in the first state of Delaware, and I grew up actually where you could stand on Delaware, Maryland, and Pennsylvania all at the same time. It was actually right across the street from my house. I became a really good dancer at a very young age, and I was given a scholarship to the Princess Grace's Rock Ballet School in Philadelphia. My dad actually worked in Philadelphia and would drive me every day and pick me up from school. Then, right before middle school, my parents had a business opportunity in Fort Myers, Florida, and they moved us down there. And need I say more that it was, again, suburban white. It wasn't until high school where I had a very special opportunity. I was in the magnet program. I switched over from dance into media arts, and we launched a international morning news show where we did our morning announcements in English, Spanish, and Creole, and that was probably one of my first glimpses to learning from other students and people about their stories. I went to University of Delaware, and need I say more, it was a very suburban white school. Next, I transferred a year later because I lost my figure skating scholarship, and I went to University of the Arts in Philadelphia. And so that was my first time of really learning about different cultures. I do believe to this day, Philadelphia is one of the most culturally diverse cities that we have in the United States. I worked in New York for 3 years, and then I was working television production. My show was on hiatus. I was on vacation in Miami Beach, Florida, and I was offered a job making extraordinarily good money. And that was my first culture shock. And people may say, why is moving to Miami a complete culture shock? Everything I did in an American business was completely in Spanish. I had a management position where everyone under me, their first and only language at times was Spanish. And there were many things that I had to learn about the Spanish culture. The way that I spoke to people, the way that I addressed. If I got angry, when you talk to somebody that's Spanish and they get angry, they're just going to get more angry and they're going to kind of rise. So I had to learn a lot of cultural norms about working with the Spanish community, and it was different depending whether somebody was Cuban or Puerto Rican or from South America or Mexico or Guatemala. It was very different. Even the way you approach somebody, it's beso, it's kiss, kiss here, and that was very interesting to me. And it was something that kind of it was something that I had to get out of my comfort zone. Because in most American businesses, especially in Philadelphia, you don't greet somebody with kissing them on the cheek. But in Miami, you do. So for 7 years, I felt like I was engulfed in this Spanish culture. So fast forward a couple years, after 7 years, I moved to South Korea. I absolutely positively knew nothing about South Korea before I moved to South Korea. My parents watched MASH. I can't believe to this day how ignorant I was on South Korea. So I really had no time to learn about the culture or anything. I was working full time and trying to complete my TESOL. And basically by the time I landed, you're kind of in this honeymoon stage. And after the honeymoon stage, you have 10 days of training, and everything is going by so fast that you don't really have an opportunity to learn anything about the culture. And I didn't realize how important it is to learn about someone's culture when you're teaching a language. There's a lot of things that I did that is rude, like especially me being in the hospitality business, the communication business, speaking in somebody's eyes. It is very rude to directly look into somebody's eyes. Bowing was different. Let's see. I'm used to shaking people's hands, and everything, it was completely different than coming from a Latin culture. So, yeah, even I had a lot of issues with communicating with my co-teachers when I first got there. They didn't understand me. They didn't, my students didn't understand me. I'd never taught formally. I have taught before at a couple performing arts schools, but it was completely different. When you've never been a teacher before, even if you're a seasoned teacher and you go over to South Korea, you teach the way either you were taught in a formal training or you teach the way that you were taught when you were in school. And you don't realize that that is completely wrong. Everything is teacher-centered, you know, and a lot of things are different. I didn't know you have to wear slippers in your school. I didn't know if you have a problem. I had a lot of issues with my co-teachers the first year I was in South Korea, and I had no one to talk to about it because there is hierarchy culture where if I have a problem, it's completely disrespectful in all regards. If I had the issue, they were actually doing something illegal. If I were to just go right to my vice principal, I would actually have to go to them. So it causes a lot of issues if you are on the lowest part of the totem pole. Coming from the service and food and beverage industry, it was extraordinarily difficult because I'm about service and there really isn't any service. You take care of yourself. There's no tipping culture here. But it is polite. So there's many different norms that I had to get used to in teaching in South Korea. And I do believe in South Korea, the teachers really want you to like have all of this all at once. But I don't think that I've mastered this. It took me 3 years to understand classroom management and to kind of blend what I know and how I feel and how Korean teachers work. So it takes a while to be comfortable. Let's see. And just recently, I have moved back to United States and I have experienced extreme culture shock. So in this extreme culture shock, you know, I'm very aware of different things. I'm finding myself bowing to people. I'm finding myself you know, saying 감사합니다, which is, you know, thank you in Korean. I don't feel that I have a weird culture shock. I don't feel that I'm it's weird. I don't feel that I am American, but I don't feel that though I belong in Korea, but I do feel like I have, my heart is international. So I think it takes a certain kind of person to become an international teacher and to live international and a certain level of respect and understanding for other cultures.